I'm Doy Demsick. Colonel Zickert, Marty, and I worked together in veteran support in Indian River County. The night I heard of his death, I wrote this. I had a few drinks and I wrote this as a means of coping with sudden loss. They say you're supposed to edit when you write after drinking. I did not do this. Anyway, here's There Will Never Be the Like, a Marine's verse for the Navigator. You weren't supposed to die, sir. You were supposed to live forever. A fall, I'm told. I don't believe it. You never fall. You never fall. You fly, and the rest of us just hold on. For life, not ours, to be a part of yours. Oh, let me be there. You're so big, guiding us, a looming fucking legend. Headed forward. I try to keep up. The community too. Sometimes we succeed. We change together. Please don't take my challenges as offenses, sir. These choices matter. Like you, I just want to make things better. I love you. I don't say it in the moment. No, I fight. Like it's the only thing that matters. God, why don't I say it? Mission over. Walking tree after. You see me and with a beer in hand and laugh. Oh, that laugh. It could change the current of air. I'm wrapped in a big hug, beer sloshing. I'm part of something. I'm home. On your side or not. Did I tell you then? Did I forget? Where are we? Before long, we're swapping raunchy stories in other countries and sharing sexual exploits. I've never felt like a man, but in those moments with you, I am. Years pass. Time throws hurdles. The country divided. I hope you know. God, I love you. We disagree. I love you more. I never get the chance. I pray you fucking know. Someone tell me you know. I'm lost. Why don't I return? Time is a fickle fucker. Death is mistress, and I am left without direction, and a love left unvoiced. This Marine spoke his mind and should have spoken his heart. That was what I wanted from Marty. In that moment, I was brokenhearted, but it's a little self-indulgent, excuse me. And the truth is, God, I'm so happy I knew him. I know so many of you. My life is better because of it.
I'm very lucky and very proud to have been able to call Marty my grandpa. The last time I saw him was at our baby shower. That was the last time I got to give him a hug, and the last time that I got to hear the booming, "Well, hey there," when he walked in the door. He gifted us a book about Air Force pilots for our little boy, and I didn't know then how cherished that book would end up being to me. He added his own notes to it, full of information and stories to share with our baby, and now it's a piece of him that we'll be able to keep and cherish forever. No one is ever going to fill the void that Marty's left in our family or in the community, and I'm going to cherish that in every moment that we've had together. I love you, Marty.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for having the opportunity to talk about Marty. He and I spent many an hour together as we worked for veterans and helping out with the community of Vero Beach. And without a doubt, Marty meant a lot to me, and I just wanted to share one thing that we both collaborated on together back in 2019. The Museum of Art provided a chance for us to get together, and it's high adventure when you have veterans come together in an art community. And we put together a banner, and it turned out wonderfully. But in addition to that, one of the homework assignments was for us to write a poem. And, so think about Marty being a poet. And I'm glad we had the assignment. And it just reflects something that you might enjoy in regards to Marty. And here it is. This is a poem called "I Am From," and it's from Marty. I am from a sofa, from tables and chairs, and a two-story house, comfortable. I am from the petunia and the pine tree whose limbs I remember, and from meat and potatoes, and from mom and dad. I am from church and family dinner, and from hard work with parents who were proud of me. I am from Hiawatha and church on Sunday, from Wisconsin and German ancestry, and meat and potatoes. I am from two uncles in World War I, gassed and lost their hair. And I am from a rocking chair and a living room. So a little insight into Marty. Marty's, his spirit was one that loved to engage people. And I think that was his best talent, without a doubt. He was a rascal. Well, that's incredibly the case, but he was a loved rascal. And, as we look at our lives and what we've done over the years, your testimony is found in the example that you left behind. And unequivocally, Marty gave of himself constantly. He, like I, was a man that liked to share their time, and deeply loved Penny, and he deeply loved life, totally. You could see that in the times that he spent volunteering at the store which he helped create west of town. You could see that in the determination he had when he went to Quail Valley and insisted that the folks with the big wallets contribute to a bus to take veterans to the VA hospital in Palm Beach. I could go on and on. Chaplain Flick helping veterans in need. We put together that assistance for them out at the store, met with folks and contributed to them. One of the instances that led to that was Marty finding a couple living out of their car with kids at the library, and his frustration in a bureaucratic system that was not responsive to helping them out. But by damn, he was going to, and he garnered support for it, and we did do that. You could see it also just in his tax writing that he did with the charities in town. And you could see it also in his esteem for the Air Force and the men that flew the jets. And he was absolutely delighted to have the young aviators, pilots, as the Air Force call them, here in Vero. And that's part of his legacy. It's pretty amazing. You know, to many, Marty was the dashing Air Force colonel with a fast car and pretty dates. But to me, Marty was a man who understood people, and he was determined to help those in need. And that's quite a compliment to anybody that has the opportunity to share with so much of his talent. That's all I have. To the family, the Zickert family, to those watching, thanks for Marty, and thanks for his family.
Man, what can I say about Colonel Zickert? I mean, so I'm part of an organization called Next Generation Veterans of Indian River County. And when I first met Colonel Zickert, he was part of that organization. We kind of all put it together. We were all the first founding members of this organization quite a few years ago, almost 10 years ago. People don't know that we've been around that long. That's when I first met Colonel, and when I tell you that a larger than life man that just controlled the room and commanded a room, it was amazing. And Colonel Zickert was a member of Next Generation Veterans of Indian River County. That was a fact, and a badge that he wore in honor. Our Next Generation Veterans is from those that have served from 1990 until now. And Colonel Zickert, he had just the end of that. He was still serving, and he would walk around with that badge of honor that I'm a Next Generation Veteran. And some of the older veterans, he would throw it out there at them that he's part of this organization with all these younger military personnel. And oh my gosh, we couldn't have done it. He was part of our original charter that helped put it. We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Colonel. When I took over commander, talk about somebody who helped guide me, and if I had questions or just anything, he always had a kind word, or if you asked his opinion, he was not short on telling you how he felt about his opinions. He was very, very outspoken, and that's what I loved about him. It wasn't always politically correct. However, it was as he felt and as it should be. And I respected that man so much for that. And the people that just would follow him and just surround him, and there wasn't a place he could go that there was people, not just one individual, but people that would know him and know his name and come up and say hi. And he would talk to me on a personal level every time that we were around, getting to know him on a personal level. He was like an older brother. I can't call him a father figure, because he was like the older brother that guided me along my path as commander. And I don't think I would have done or been able to do half the things that our organization was being able to do if it wasn't for Colonel Zickert being there, whether it be in the capacity of helping leading something or organizing something, or whether he was there just as a supporter and a cheerleader, and then just making things happen. it's tough. The man meant the world to a lot of people, and I am just absolutely honored and blessed that I got to be a small part of his life and the impact he has made on me, our organization, and my family. Words can never describe how we love and will always cherish him being in our lives. Fly high, Colonel.
Hi, Marty. I just want to say that it was an honor to cross paths with you in this lifetime. And from the time that I first met you at Walking Tree Brewery, I would see you everywhere. And you always were so kind towards me. And I will miss your hugs always. And I will miss seeing you around town. I'll miss seeing you at all the events, and I'll miss seeing you working for the veterans, and I'll miss you at the air show. You truly made a difference, and I guess it was time for you to go fly high, and I hope you are, and I hope everything is good there. I salute you, Marty. See you on the other side.
Oh, dear Marty. Really didn't even imagine that this day would be here, because Marty's presence was just larger than life and seemed like he'd always be around. To say that my life was impacted by him is an understatement. Our community is definitely going to be at a loss without Marty. Met him probably late 2016. And he roped me into working with him at the Veterans Council and so many other different events and fundraisers. And just, he walked into the room and his presence was larger than life and had a smile that lit up the entire space. Definitely a big flirt. I always told him that I was safe because I wasn't a blonde. He, yes, was a veteran, a patriot, a supporter of our veteran organizations, but so many other organizations as well throughout our community. Big Packer fan, always loved to talk about his Packers, but he was a true friend. And there are so many conversations that I can think back on and walk away with just words of wisdom. He was all about building relationships, and I think it's evident that that was what he was about by the amount of people that are feeling his loss right now. There's a phrase called being the difference. And Marty truly lived that. He was the difference in our community. He made a difference in my life. He made a difference in the life of everyone that he touched. And for that, I thank him. I thank him for companionship, for his generosity, and the love he had for everyone that he came across. The world will be different. Vero Beach will be different. I'm honored to have called you my friend. I'm honored that you included me in your family. And your name will forever remain on my lips, and you will never be forgotten.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dale. First of all, I want to offer my condolences to Marty's family for such a tragic loss, and shocker, whoever thought what happened happened. Bless his soul. May God welcome him into heaven. I just wanted to talk about the couple of things that Marty and I did together since our Gold Star Mother chapter became a part of Indian River County in 2019. First of all, he was at our installation, which was very nice. It was at Dogs for Life, and there were many veterans there, and Marty was one of them, which is a wonderful thing. He was always very active with the committee for the Veterans and Family Picnic, which unfortunately we didn't have this year. I don't know why. But we worked together on that a lot of committee meetings, and he was always there to help my husband Ken set up tables, take down tables, get the program ready, offer help where it was needed. He was always there for us. And a few years ago, when money was donated to the council to honor my son, who was killed in Afghanistan, Marty was part of the committee where we decided to name this picnic after my son, which is Army Corporal Dale J. Cridlow, which was kind of a special spot in my heart that was agreed upon by the members who were involved in that donation. He also worked with me with the Red, White, and Blue concert. Not in an active role every year, but there were many times where Paige Howell, who's the music conductor of the Vero Beach High School, needed veterans to come in and say different parts, and Marty always volunteered to do that, which was very nice. We worked on that, and those are kind of very fond memories. Our first annual walkathon for military veteran suicide awareness was quite interesting because it was something that we decided to do as a brand new chapter, because the first walkathon was in 2019. We were installed in 2019. Marty was a member of that committee and offered a lot of insight as part of that committee. The first walkathon went well. And I was quite surprised afterwards when Marty and I talked a bit. And he said that, well, since it went so well, we should just keep on doing it as Gold Star Mothers and let that be something that our Gold Star Mothers can keep active and doing. And we have. And it's still going on. It's going to happen again this year. One thing I do remember other than that is that in our third walkathon, he was part of it. We looked for volunteers to wear their uniform, and when we walked through the island, be near the memorial for their service. And Marty was all dressed in his Air Force uniform, and believe me, it gets hot even in November. It's always in November, but he was there with his uniform, and that was quite a wonderful thing for him to do. And one other thing that I kind of remember very, I don't know if deeply is a good word or very well, but I did many interviews here with Marty when he had the radio show for the Veterans Council. I never got to sit in this chair, though. I always had to sit in the other chair because this was the interviewer's chair, which was always Marty's. And that was kind of fun. Got you through the interview without being nervous. And I guess you could say that was my indoctrination to doing radio interviews. So I owe that kudo to him also. And Vero Beach will be a little bit different place without him popping in and showing up at things, but we'll all remember him fondly. Thank you.
Hi, this is Steve Deffrin. I have volunteered with Marty Zickert over at the military store for about 2 years, and it was just a terrific experience. Marty was one of those people you just took right into your life. I know that Indian River County is going to suffer a great loss with him being gone, and we're all going to miss him terribly. I know he was responsible for bringing the Blue Angels to Vero Beach, which is a fantastic show that he made sure was good every time he did it. all the things he did in the veterans community as president of the Veterans Council, starting the military store, which is where I met Marty the first time, and then I was doing occasional reports at the Veterans Council. Marty was involved with everything, and he was just one of those people you took into your life. He was a wonderful man and an absolute tragic loss to our community. Thanks.
Hey, Marty, I salute you. The only other man that's allowed to kiss me on the lips, per Mr. Michael Tillery. It was fun to collaborate with you. We've done so much, bringing MREs and different things in the wake of disasters. You spearheaded it all, and I was happy to be your sidekick. Marty, have one up there for me. I salute you.
Hi, my name is Ellen Contreras, and I am a radio show host here at Evergreen Media, and Marty Zickert was as well, the Colonel. And years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting with him, and for those that know him, just the kindest man, and just so well-mannered, and just a gentleman, a gentleman's gentleman, and they don't make them like that anymore, I have to say. Very gallant and just a lovely human being. And I was new in the area. I met him at networking, and we had lunch together. He was with the Veterans Council of Indian River County. He never actually left, even though he said he retired. Marty never retired, nor would he ever. And he just was so generous with his time and giving me information about this area and the who's who and what's what. And it was just wonderful to spend that time with him. And then, of course, I would see him everywhere at all different community events and networking, and always the same thing, just wanting to help everyone that he could. And he's just one of those people that you look up to, and you say to yourself, as I get older, God willing, I would like to be able to do what he does and have an impact on the community like he does. Just if you're going to emulate yourself after someone, he's one of those people that, you just looked up to. And I'm going to miss him and his sense of humor and his warmth and graciousness. So, Colonel, you're up there in an amazing place, and I'll see you again someday.
Hi, my name's Gary Girusso. I'm the president of the Victory Center Military Store, which, as many of you know, Marty was very instrumental in setting up back in 2011. And he always said to me, he didn't think the store would last a year, and here we are 12, 13 years later, still operating. I got to know Marty from him being a manager at the store, and he knows, he could talk. He could talk a lot, and he had a lot of stories to tell. I know a few years ago he decided to kind of give up the permanent manager's position, but he did fill in quite a bit when Sandra needed help. As a matter of fact, I was joking with him about a month ago because she got him to fill in as a kind of a permanent manager during the summer. And when I said to him, "Oh, she got you roped back in, didn't she?" And he laughed, as he always likes to laugh, and he said, how did he put it? He said, yeah, he said, I try to think of every excuse not to go back and be a manager, but I couldn't say no to Sandra. That's the way Marty was. I mean, he did a lot of things for this community, and a lot of different volunteer things that he did, which was great. And for a man at his age, he didn't look that old, and he had a lot of energy. He would, like I said, he would volunteer at the Victory Center when we needed him, and even though he was a manager, he would always even work as just a volunteer for a couple hours when he needed a quick fill-in. And and I also know him by going to the Veterans Council. But there was he had a couple of funny stories. One of them, when we were moving the Victory store over from one end of the mall to the other, I was in there one day while the store was open, and I had my little tool bag because I was doing some things in the store, trying to fix things and just get things all up and going. And then he said to me, so I'm in the bag, I said, "Oh, you here fixing things?" And I laughed at him and I said, "No, it's just like the military. I don't know how to fix anything. I just know how to break them." Well, Marty, let out a loud laugh, and then he proceeded to tell me the story, how true that is, when he was at a base once and they had an exercise going on, and they had to, basically they had to blow up an airfield and then have it filled in within like 24 hours or whatever. And he said the pilots with precision came down, blew up the area they were supposed to. 2 days later, the hole was still in the ground, and he started to laugh. So he says, "You're right. We don't know how to fix anything. We just know how to break it." But that was Marty. He was always made you feel like a friend. I didn't know him that well. I'm sure there's more people that knew him a lot better than I did, but every time he saw me, he remembered personal things about me and asked me questions, and that's what I remember about Marty. And I'm going to miss him because, like I said, he was very instrumental in starting the Victory Center. As a matter of fact, he had signed the first lease, I believe, and he also was instrumental in getting us a 501c3 designation, which makes us a nonprofit. So we'll like I said, we'll miss him. He was a great guy, and God bless you, Marty.
Hey, good morning. My name is John Zambri. I came to know Marty Zickert through my association with the Victory Center military store. I've known Marty for about 4 years now. I was his volunteer when he managed the store a couple of days a week. I then became a manager and got to know him a little bit better. But in the time I spent with him at the store, we worked 2-hour shifts, and it was just Marty and I. And most of you know, Marty would answer that question in 2 hours. But I found him to be very interesting. He talked about his military service, 30 years, as you know. Talked about his baseball prowess. I believe he played baseball for the Air Force. But again, I never found him boring. I could listen. He knew I was a good listener, and he would just tell me stories one after the other, talk about his wife, Penny, and his life experiences. But again, I found him very interesting. I found him to be a word we don't use much anymore. He was a jolly man. He could laugh. He had a great laugh. We had a great rapport. When we saw each other, we felt good about seeing each other. He's done so much for the military store, the Victory Center. He was instrumental in getting it started. I believe it's a little over 11 years ago. And without his help, we may not have been able to open the store. His work with the Veterans Council and various organizations throughout Indian River County and beyond has been inimitable. I just can't say enough about how I feel about the man, his courage, his stamina, his military service, 30 years, my goodness. The last thing I want to say about Marty is he made people feel important. He was important himself, but he made other people feel important. I would run into him at various functions that he was running or was part of, and he always engaged me and made me feel that I was a pretty important person, and that's a great quality for a man to have. I must say that when I read the email from Sandra from the Victory Center about his passing, I did drop a few tears. He was a great man, and I'll miss him. Thank you very much.
Marty, I'd like to salute you for all you've done for this community. You will leave a gaping hole. You have done so much for Vero Beach, Indian River County, and especially the veterans. You have supported our project, the Purple Heart Cane Project, and all other projects concerning veterans. The Blue Angels are here because of you and through you. All that you have done will be sorely missed. I can remember talking to you the first time, and the one thing about you, once they met you, you had a friend. You only met a stranger once. Marty, you're going to be missed. Salute you, sir. Kavu skies.
Hey, Colonel. Met you many years ago. You've always had a smile on your face and a beer in your hand. It was very sad to hear about what happened, what transpired. Vero has definitely lost a great person and somebody that is such an advocate for the veterans and such a good friend that would always make you laugh. Have a cold one for me. Enjoy yourself and fly high.
Oh, Marty, miss you already. Can't remember the last time that I thought of a veteran and I did not think of Marty. What an ambassador for the veterans in our community. I personally wouldn't be in the Veterans Council of Indian River County if it wasn't for Marty. He has left an amazing legacy. And Cynthia, I know you also
kind
of have the same story.
I'm here because of Marty.
Yeah.
He got myself and my husband involved with Veterans Council many years ago, and I could have never imagined that I would be in the position I am now, leading the Veterans Council. And it all started with Marty and his vision and foundation for Veterans Council. So we're all so lucky for him.
Yeah. You can't think of veterans without thinking about Marty.
Absolutely.
He's going to be missed.
Absolutely.
I'm here today to do a salute to Martin Zickert. Feels a little strange, actually, to be here without him, because we spent many times together in recording studios. He is, if you don't know, in fact, he was born the day before Valentine's Day. So I always thought of him, in a sense, as a Valentine to the world. And he was an early Valentine to the world. He was filled with joy and love, and someone who loved the entire community passionately, and I think was loved back in the same way. It was really a beautiful thing to be part of, and I'm very thankful and feel very fortunate that I was able to be a part of it. I met Martin when I was the mayor of the city of Vero Beach, and he was the president of Veterans Council. So we were both in positions to affect many positive changes for the city and for the community, and we worked together on a number of projects, not just for veterans, although that was certainly a starting point, but also for the larger community. He was involved in, as you may know, many different areas beyond veterans. For example, he worked on with the American Cancer Society, Real Men Wear Pink campaign, and he was excited about that. I had Miss Florida was visiting the Citrus Museum. So I said, well, maybe she would take a picture with you and help with this campaign. And I contacted the Citrus Museum, and thank you to Heather Stapleton and Robin Berry. And they set it up with her so that she did. She participated in his campaign. So that's a really, just a fun memory, and shows, the kinds of other activities that he was involved in for the community at large. And another thing I would say about him is that he always thought of others, always. and whether it was a large matter or a small one. And I'll give an example of each. With Veterans Council, and he was always thinking ahead. So with Veterans Council, what he wanted to do was to reach out to the community to be more inclusive. And one way that he thought to do that was to include civilians on the board of directors. So he invited me to run for office, if you will, for that office, to be the first civilian elected to the board of directors. And that was by, and I was, thankfully, that was actually the most, one of my more exciting elections, because you're sitting there in the very room with everyone as they vote with paper ballots. But the reason why he did that was, and I didn't even think to ask him until a year later, because after I was elected to the board of directors, then other civilians were appointed by the board. I was the only one who stood for general election, among the membership. And I asked him about that because I trusted his judgment at the time, but I asked him about it a year later. And his response, was very interesting. He said, well, I wanted you to actually run for office with the general membership because I wanted it to come from them. I wanted everyone to be part of the decision. In other words, he wanted it to be grassroots. He wanted it to be to come from everyone, not that he was going to impose it in any way or dictate in any way. And I really appreciated that about him, that he liked to bring everyone together. And that's what an important quality that is today. I mean, you think about it, we live in such a divisive time, and he'll be so missed. I mean, that was one of the attributes that he had. He truly excelled at that, at bringing people together. And in a smaller sense, but this is a very dear personal memory to me, we were going to, it was a formal event, and I was to wear a floor-length gown. And for those who don't know Martin, he had a red Corvette. He also had a truck. But to take me to this dance, he borrowed his son's car. And by the way, thank you, Michael. I don't know if I ever actually formally thanked you, but how sweet is that? I felt like I was a teenager again, going to the prom, except he borrowed his son's car. That's that's how old we are. But you know what? It was great. I mean, and probably anyone who spent time with him would say the same thing. His energy level was just so high that he was such a dynamic individual that you could be a teenager again. And I guess we were. It was great. As he would have said, this was his favorite word. He said, "That was a blast." I had a blast, and I did too. And I'll remember all of the times very fondly. I would say my only regret is that he had taken me to Dancing with the Stars a number of years ago. And in fact, I just picked up the tickets yesterday. I thought this year I would take him as a surprise, and I didn't get to tell him because, of course, all of this was unexpected. And I thought to myself, gee, we won't get to go. But then I thought, I was always dancing with a star. And how fortunate I am, and we all are, to have known him. You know, he was born the day before Valentine's Day, and I just always thought of him as an early Valentine for the world, the entire world. And if I had to say what he was, the ingredients, I would say he was joy and love in equal measure.
Hey, Marty. Marty, we know that you should have been a 5-star general, Marty. You really should have. Everybody that knows you thinks that. But you know what, Marty? In my mind, you're a 5-star guy. And Marty, this Marty Weiser, it's for you. Cheers wherever you are, Marty. The one and only Marty Weiser.